Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang saranang gacchami. Sukhi hotu. Peace be with you. The teachings of the Buddha are to avoid all evil, to do good, and to clean out the mind. To avoid all evil, we have to keep to 5 basic precepts, which is to refrain from killing, refrain from stealing, from sexual misconduct, from telling lies, and from intoxicants. So this is the very basic basis for our entire practice. All happiness in this life and the next comes from keeping to these basic 5 precepts. If we cannot keep to this, then what we have is a human body, but a subhuman mind. If we can keep these precepts so very, very well on such a refined level that we don't even allow thoughts of anger to settle in the mind, we don't allow thoughts of sensual desire, jealousy, hatred to settle in the mind, then what we have is a human body, but a superhuman mind. And this is the basis for the entire practice. It cannot be overemphasized. As regards doing good, there are countless ways. There are countless ways of doing good. The most important perhaps being generosity, which is why the Buddhist practice is often summarized as generosity, morality, and meditation. Now, as regards cleaning out the mind, purifying the mind, a very, very important tool, an essential tool, is the practice of meditation. And I would like to offer some guideline on the practice of meditation according to the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Meditation is the way of purifying the mind, of uplifting the mind, refining the mind, cleaning out the mind, and strengthening the mind. It's so very simple, and it costs nothing, but it yields the greatest benefits. So I would like to now offer some basic guideline. When we come to sit meditation, we sit with the back comfortably straight, not too stiff and not too lax. The legs can be crossed, or we can sit on a chair like this. The textbook method for sitting on a chair or sitting cross-legged, is right leg on left leg, right hand on left hand. But if we cannot manage to sit with the right leg on left leg, we can just sit any way which is comfortable. The important thing is that the back is straight and relaxed. So we close the eyes and we open the heart. And we bring our awareness to this body. We bring our attention only to this body. And for the time we are sitting in meditation, we don't send the mind outside of the body. We stay only within the limits of this body. And we bring our attention to the breathing. Usually when we start, we focus our attention at the inner nostril, where we feel the air coming in and going out. Not following the air down into the body or out again, only staying at this one point, where we feel the air, the wind passing. Only staying at this doorway. Or we can fix our attention at the rise and fall of the abdomen. As we breathe in, the lower abdomen will expand. As we breathe out, the abdomen will contract. So normally when we begin our meditation practice, we would keep our attention at one of these 2 points. And having fixed our attention there, we keep it there. We don't let it move around. In addition to observing the breath, in Thailand, we use the mantra Butto, Butto, breathing in, Bud, breathing out, To, breathing in, Bud, breathing out, To, or breathing in, Butto, 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 breathing out, Butto, 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 Butto. This mantra, Butto, is a holy word. It's a holy mantra. It means the state of mind of an enlightened being, the state of mind of the Buddha. It's translated in 3 ways. It has a 3-fold meaning. It means the knowing one, the radiant one, the awakened one. The knowing one means that the meditator knows whatever contacts the mind through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or what forms in the mind itself is impermanent. What is impermanent cannot be a permanent basis for happiness. What is impermanent cannot be taken as a permanent self. So the knowing one means knowing these 3 things. Impermanence, no permanent basis for happiness, and not permanent self. The radiant one means the heart has opened up and become brighter and wider and wider. When we practice meditation, our heart will become wider and wider and wider. And when we do the meditation of spreading loving kindness throughout the universe, then this is as wide as the heart becomes. The awakened one means we are awake, no longer dreaming, or no longer believing the dreams. One day the Buddha was walking along a road, and one man who was very much impressed with the radiance of the Buddha, he said to the Buddha, "Are you a deva?" And the Buddha said, "No." He said, "Are you human?" And the Buddha said, "No." And the man said, "What are you?" And the Buddha said, "I am awake." So this mantra means the knowing one, the radiant one, the awakened one. If we use the mantra, pizza, beer, then the mind will incline towards pizza and beer. If we use the mantra, Butto, 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 the state of mind of an enlightened being, then the mind will incline towards the state of mind of an enlightened being. So we train ourselves like this. We sit comfortably straight, just keeping our attention on the breathing in and the breathing out. Not letting the mind wander to the outside, keeping the mind only within the limits of this body, and keeping the mind only with the mantra, Butto, Butto, Butto. If the mind wanders to the outside, then we just bring it back in again. And however many times the mind wanders to the outside, we just keep bringing it back in again. Always staying with the breathing, always staying with the mantra. And as we sit here, we are still wide awake. We're not asleep, we're not in a trance. And all our senses are functioning normally. We still receive some light input even through closed eyelids. We still hear sounds from the outside. We can still smell whatever smells there are in the whatever odors there are. We can still taste the inside of our mouth. And we can still feel our own body. And the mind will also keep fabricating its own fabrications. But during the time we are sitting in meditation, we just sharpen our mindfulness, and whatever contacts the mind through these 6 ways, we just observe it and let it pass. Observe it, let it pass. Since the time we are born, the mind is always being contacted through these 6 ways: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and heart. And since the time we're born, we have been reacting with these sensations with aversion or attachment, one to the other, one to the other. When we react with attachment to these contacts, then it's like we kick our heart around like a football. We want something to the outside, and it's like we kick our heart to the outside. When we react with anger, dislike, aversion, then it's like we squeeze and we burn our own heart. And from these 2 extremes, anger and dislike, desire, attachment, then the heart finds no rest, the heart has no peace. So we have to train the heart to find peace, to be able to stop reacting to all these. Meditation should be the easiest thing in the world to do, because all we have to do is rest the mind. Resting should be a very, very easy thing to do. But meditation is the most difficult thing to do, because the untrained mind does not know how to rest. The untrained mind does not want to rest. It's always going to want to get involved with issues, get tangled up with everything on the outside. So we have to train the mind. We have to train the mind just to be able to rest. We train the mind through this practice of mindfulness, the mind observing the mind. Whenever there's a contact with the mind through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, through whatever forms in the mind itself, then we immediately observe it and let it pass. We don't give it time to grow big. So as we're sitting here, all our senses are functioning normally, but the greatest disturbance to our mind will not be usually what contacts the eye, ear, nose, or body. Usually the greatest disturbance to our practice will be what forms in the heart itself, what forms in the mind itself. And we call these the 5 hindrances. And they are not only the hindrances to meditation, they are the hindrances to peace, which we've had since we were born. They are the hindrances to meditation because they are the hindrance to peace. And these are: the mind can react with anger. Irritation can develop in the mind. Or sensual desire. Sensual desire can develop in the mind. We may suddenly get a desire for whatever sensual pleasure. Or a lot of worrying, anxiety can come up in the mind. Or we can feel very, very drowsy and dull, sleepy. Or we can feel unconfident. We can have a lot of doubt, lacking in self-confidence, or lacking in confidence in the practice, in the training, in the teacher. So these are the 5 ways that we call the 5 hindrances. They are anger, sensual desire, anxiety, worry, sleepiness, and doubt. And these 5 hindrances are very important to recognize, because they get big only because we allow them to. They get big only because we agree with them. If we agree with them, then we pump our mental energy into them. We agree with the anger. We have a right to be angry because so-and-so did this and so and so and so. And we agree with this anger, then the anger gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The heart becomes hotter and hotter and hotter, and more crunched. Or we agree with the mind that we need this item, or we have to worry about this, we have to worry about that. And as we agree with these things, we pump our mental energy into them, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So we can get more and more sleepy or more doubtful. But if we just observe these things as contacts in the mind, just like an eye contact, ear contact, nose-tongue contact, or tongue contact, if we can just be dispassionate and just calmly observe these things going on in the mind, and just let them pass, let them go, then they don't grow. They fade away and fall away. And as they fade away, we see how much they disturb our heart. Because as they fade away, the heart becomes more and more calm and cool and clear and at peace. As the mind becomes more and more one-pointed with the breathing in, put, breathing out, to, staying only with the breathing, staying only with the mantra, and as the mental energies become unified, no longer scattered around, forming a steady beam of attention directed inward, as the mental energies become unified and the mind becomes one-pointed, we see something very, very simple. We see something so very simple. And this is the natural state of mind, is peace, is contentment, is clarity, is happiness. When we stop disturbing our mind with these 5 hindrances, then the natural state of mind starts to shine through. And this we call the Brahma Vihara, which is metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, sense of congratulation or joy at the good fortune of other beings, and ubbeka, equanimity. So these are the 4 states of mind of a normal, clean, clear mind. Any other state of mind is a disturbed state of mind. And we see this very, very clearly. As soon as we stop disturbing our heart, we see that the natural state of mind is simply peace and happiness, calmness, coolness, contentment. And as we continue our practice, and the mind becomes unified, one-pointed, we will get a sense of what we call the Pali word piti, P-I-T-I. Piti, we will feel a sense of lightness in the body, a brightness, an inner illumination. We will feel energized and vitalized. We will feel refreshed in body and refreshed in mind, this energy called piti. Now this energy of piti is something very important in our practice. We have to develop it, but at the same time not become attached to it. But we have to develop it more and more and more. So it starts as a light inside the body, and we stay with our practice, and this light gets brighter and brighter and brighter, so that we have an inner flashlight, an inner torch. The heart will become light and bright, and the heart will open up like the petals of a flower. And when the heart is bright and cool and clear and wide, it becomes the throne for the mind, the throne for the citta. But when we allow all our angers, anxieties, jealousies, frustrations, depressions, and so on, to choke up the heart, then the heart becomes like the executioner's electric chair for the mind. So we just sharpen our mindfulness, and whenever there's a contact through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and heart, we observe it, and we let it pass. Observe, let pass. This is the golden rule of meditation. Whatever appears in body or in mind, just be aware of it, let it pass. Impermanent. Some people may get visions. They may see various things in their meditation. They should just be aware of them, let them pass, not follow. or we may hear sounds. And the same again, we should just be aware of them, let them pass. What we know for sure about these things is that they are impermanent, like the mind dreaming, just impermanent. Let them pass, let them go. When we have got to the state where the mind is calm and cool and clear and bright and wide, we have achieved something very, very important. We finally learned how to rest the mind. And when the mind rests like this, it becomes very, very clear, also very, very strong. It gathers a lot of strength when it is collected like this. And this is a very, very important stage in our practice. Very, very important stage. But it's only a stage. The meditation becomes the platform. This one-pointedness of mind we call samadhi. The samadhi becomes the platform for developing wisdom. Because at this point we haven't yet developed any wisdom. We haven't yet developed the wisdom of vipassana, which means to see impermanence. If someone says to you, just let go, all your problems will be solved, it does not really help you very much, because we want to let go, we try to let go, but we cannot control the mind, because the mind is not me, it's not mine, it has no self. But what we can do is we can train the mind. We can train the mind to see that what is holding on to is not worth holding on to. And when the mind sees for itself that what is holding on to is not worth holding on to, then it lets go by itself. We don't need to force it. It will just let go by itself. And whenever the mind lets go by itself like this, we get a glimpse. We get a tiny glimpse of the happiness of an enlightened being. Because the enlightened beings have let go completely. And they have let go from seeing impermanence. Through seeing impermanence they have let go. So we let the mind rest for as long as it needs to, because it's very, very important to let the mind rest. Until we've come to practice meditation, we don't know what it is to rest the mind. So we can let the mind rest for as long as it needs to. But we don't allow the mind to get stuck, to get addicted to this samadhi. When we've rested long enough, when we feel refreshed, then we have to start to try to develop this wisdom of seeing impermanence. And this is the practice of vipassana. Vipassana means to see impermanence. From seeing impermanence, we see no permanent basis for happiness. From impermanence, we see no permanent self. So, we've made the heart bright. We have our inner flashlight. We have our tools. If we are lost in a forest at night time, then we need a flashlight to get back home. But more than this, we need to know the path. We need to know the way home. And in our meditation, the heart literally, not metaphorically, literally becomes bright. We have our inner flashlight. And the way home, the path home, is the Eightfold Path. And however tall or short, fat or skinny we are, the Eightfold Path is as long and wide as this. Everything we need to learn, we learn from our own body, we learn from our own mind. We learn from only keeping the mind within this frame. Body to heart, heart to body, going back from one to the other, from the other to the other. One technique that the Buddha gave for seeing impermanence in the body is to examine the body in terms of the four elements: earth, water, wind and fire, or solid, liquids, gases and heat. So when we feel refreshed from the meditation, we put the mind to work. We start to analyze this body in terms of the four elements. So we can visualize the body in terms of these 4 groups. We can look at the hair on the head, try to see the hair, try to visualize the hair on the head. And this we put in the category of solid. We try to visualize the hair, and we can consider how this hair has changed since we were a baby, since we were a young child, teenager, our present age, and in our old age, how will this hair look? And it might seem completely ridiculous, self-evident, that hair is not ourself, hair is not permanent. But it's only when the mind is in deep meditation that it can see clearly. Usually we have this idea that this body is me and mine. And even though intellectually we may think this hair is not me, not mine, it's only when the mind is clear in meditation it really sees. In the time of the Buddha, there was one 6-year-old boy who was having his head shaved. He was about to ordain as a novice. And he saw the hair fall from his head and immediately became enlightened, because he saw only from this that body is not self. The knowledge came so deep into the mind that he saw immediately and completely, and he let go completely. After the hair of the head, we can take the hair all around the body, try to visualize the hair all around the body, and put this in the category of solid. We can look at the nails, try to visualize the nails. We can take one nail or all the nails on the hands, on the feet. And we can put this in the category of solid. We can visualize the teeth. Try to see the teeth in the mouth. And put this in the category of solid. We can try to see the skin all around the body. Every time we focus on a body part, we can try to visualize, try to see that body part. So we visualize the skin. We can visualize just a tiny patch of the skin, or we can visualize all the skin all around the body. And this we can put in the category of solid. And if we get tired from going around the body, analyzing like this, then we bring the mind back to rest in the samadhi, going back to the breathing. Breathing in, put, breathing out, do. Breathing in, put, breathing out, do. And when we feel refreshed again, we go back to work again. We can go deeper into the body, and we can look at the bones all around the body. We can look at the flesh, the brains, the heart, the liver, the lungs, all the organs. We can take every single part of this body and all the solid parts, try to visualize and put them in the category of solid. And every time we feel tired, we go back to the one-pointedness, breathing in, breathing out. After we've gone around all the solid parts of the body, we look at the heart. How is the heart right now? Is it cool? Or is it hot? Is it open? Or is it closed? If we have a good state of mind, the heart will be cool and open. If we have a not so good state of mind, then the heart will be cramped and hot. So whichever way the heart is, we just watch it, observe it, and let it pass. So we go through all the body parts, hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, skin, all the solid parts, the bones, the muscles, the brain, the heart, the liver, the lungs, stomach, intestines. And we try to see, try to visualize each body part. And we put this in the category of solid. And when we've done all this, we can rest the mind again. And then go on to look at the liquid parts of the body. Try to feel, try to be aware of the perspiration all around the body, the perspiration all over the skin. Try to visualize And we put this in the category of liquid. We can try to visualize, try to focus on the fluid in the eye. And we put this in the category of fluid. We can focus on the fluid around the brain. Try to see, try to be aware of this, and put it in the category of fluid. Try to be aware of the heart. Try to see, visualize the blood in the heart. And from the heart, try to visualize the blood flowing all around the body through all the arteries and veins. Try to see the saliva in the mouth. Try to be aware of the saliva in the mouth. Try to be aware of the urine in the bladder. Try to visualize the lymph, all the liquid parts of the body. And we can consider how long have these liquid parts been in this body. They come from the water we drink. We drink water, it builds up these liquid parts, and they must get replenished, changed over every few days, every few hours, not very long. All the hard parts in this body, they come only from the food that we eat. And I've heard every 7 years, I've heard every 12 years, the body changes over completely. So all the solid parts in this body are completely changed over every so often. So when we finished with all the liquid parts in the body, we can let the mind rest again in one-pointedness, in samadhi. And we observe the heart. How is the heart right now? Is it cool and clear, or wide, or is it hot and cramped? Whichever way the heart is, just be aware, let it pass. Whatever happens in the mind will manifest itself right here, in this point. When I say the heart in meditation, I mean this point right here, not the pump here. The heart will be cool and clear and wide. So, when we've rested the mind enough in the one-pointedness of breathing in, breathing out, then we can go on to looking at the air, the wind in the body. We can try to visualize this time the air as it enters the nose and fills up the lung on the in-breath, and on the out-breath the lung will contract. So we can try to visualize this. The air comes into the body for just one breath, and it passes out. That's how long the air stays in this body. We can try to be aware of and visualize the air in the intestines, which passes out the upper end or the lower end. And consider how long has this air been in this body? Only maybe an hour, a couple of hours, not more. And we can go back again to the breathing in and the breathing out. Checking the heart again. How is the heart? Cool and clear and wide, or cramped and hot and heavy? And then we can just observe the body heat. Try just to observe your own body heat. Be aware of the warmth of the body. From the head to the toe, just be aware of your own body heat. And consider how long has this body heat been in this body. It's produced and dissipated all the time. If we die right now, the body will be cold in just a few minutes. These four elements, solids, liquids, gases, heat, they're just the four elements of the world. that we borrow for a while to make up this composite body. There's nothing me or mine in any of this. And we can look at the mind. Try to see what feelings go on here in the heart. They appear and they're gone. They appear and they're gone. They appear and they're gone. Nothing permanent. Painful feelings are very obviously unpleasant, but also pleasant feelings, completely impermanent, unsubstantial, and again, no basis for happiness. If we think we should base our happiness on pleasant feelings, then all we get is frustration and disappointment, because these pleasant feelings, they appear and they disappear. They appear and they disappear. Gone. Insubstantial. Nothing to build our happiness on. We can look at the moods which pass through the mind. They're like the clouds which pass overhead. Some days anger, sometimes excitement, sometimes frustration, sometimes boredom, sometimes elation. Like clouds passing all the time. But if we just observe them, let them pass, then the clear mind will shine through. And we will see all these things, unsubstantial, insubstantial, not worth holding on to. Nothing permanent in any of this. We can look around the world and see, what can I base my happiness on? What can I find which is permanent in this world? We're born to a mother and father, we have family, we have friends, and they all must die. We have our livelihood, but our livelihood can fail. We can lose our business. We can become incapacitated. We cannot do our job. We maybe have our house, our possessions, but they cannot guarantee our happiness. They can be lost any time. We have this body, but nothing permanent. Everything in this body is just elements from the world. So if I want to base my happiness on anything in this world, I cannot find anything permanent. I cannot find anything to base a permanent happiness on. So if my happiness is based on holding on to anything or attachment to anything, permanent happiness is not possible. But if my happiness depends on letting go, then a permanent happiness or a timeless happiness becomes possible, because I can let go of everything. And when the heart sees for itself the impermanent nature of everything in our physical experience, everything in our mental experience, it sees the insubstantial nature of it all. And then the heart by itself lets go. And in letting go, then we find something marvelous. We find a much more refined peace than we could have dreamed of. What we find is the heart of letting go is the highest happiness. First of all, we find like a wellspring of happiness in the heart. And as we practice more and more and more, this wellspring becomes a fountain of cool, clear energy. So we see that actually non-attachment is not a state of cold, dry indifference. Non-attachment is a state of overflowing. It's a state of overflowing with happiness, with joy, with peace, with kindness, with wisdom. And this inner energy, which we find, we can share with the world through the practice of spreading metta. As we sit practicing meditation, the heart becomes more and more energized. Our energies have increased. And this energy we can spread around through the practice of what we call metta, loving kindness. We can breathe in, filling the heart with energy, filling the heart with bright light, so that the heart energizes, and then as we breathe out, we can let the heart overflow. So, breathing in with the idea, may I be happy, and then breathing out letting the heart overflow to all beings. May all beings be happy. And a very useful practice is to send metta in the 10 directions, in front, back, the sides, the 4 diagonal directions, and up and down. So we can breathe in, may I be happy, and as we breathe out, we let the heart overflow, may all beings in front be happy. And we actually do feel this energy. It's very, very real. So may I be happy, and the heart overflows, may all beings be happy. Breathing in, may I be happy, letting the heart overflow to all beings on my right, may all beings be happy. Breathing in, may I be happy. Breathing out, may all beings behind be happy. Breathing in, filling the heart with light, with energy. Breathing out, may all beings to my left be happy. Breathing in, may I be happy. May all beings above be happy. Breathing in, may I be happy. And breathing out, may all beings below. Letting the heart overflow to all beings. And then the 4 diagonal directions, may I be happy. And as we breathe out, letting the heart overflow, may all beings be happy. May I be happy. May all beings be happy. May I be happy. May all beings be happy. May I be happy. May all beings be happy. So when we practice this way, the heart will become very, very wide. Very, very literally wide. And we will feel very, very uplifted. It's a great benefit for us to do this practice, and the energy we send out really does benefit the world also. Another way we can do this practice of spreading metta, loving kindness, is we can visualize the earth as a ball. We can visualize the planet Earth sitting right here. And we can send our loving kindness to all beings on this earth. And then we can change the picture, put the image of the solar system right here, and send our loving kindness to all beings throughout the solar system. Then the galaxy, try to visualize the galaxy. We've all seen pictures. Put the picture of the galaxy right here, and send our loving kindness to all beings throughout the whole galaxy. And then the universe, we can just have the idea, because we have no image, we have no picture, that the universe is contained right in here. And we can send our loving kindness, share our merits with all beings throughout the whole universe. And then we zoom back down again, galaxy, solar system, Earth. So after practicing meditation, we should always do this practice of spreading metta, of loving kindness. It's very, very beneficial to us and also to beings around us. And after we finish this practice of spreading metta, we can gently come out of meditation. We can put our right hand on our right knee, slowly, mindfully. Then the left hand on the left knee. Bring the right hand to the chest. Then the left hand joins the right hand. And we should make the commitment to continue on the spiritual practice. And we should also show our respect for our teachers, in this case the Lord Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And then we bring the hands up to the eyebrows in respect and gratitude. we bring the hands back down to the legs. And then we gently open up the eyes. And we keep the heart open. So this is some guidelines for the meditation practice. It is the thing which is the most benefit. Nothing can compare with the benefit of meditation for uplifting the mind, for purifying the mind, for strengthening the mind, for developing wisdom, the wisdom to let go. Dhamma means truth, or we can say Dhamma means nature. And we can take an analogy from nature. We can see that the fruit trees, before they produce fruit, they have to produce blossoms. And it's the same for us in our practice. Before we reach the final fruit of enlightenment, the final fruit of Nibbana, our own heart has to blossom. The heart has to open up, just like a flower, just like a blossom, and become bright and cool and clear. We have to develop in kindness, develop in peace, develop in wisdom, develop in happiness. So when we find these things developing in our own mind, then we can be confident that we're on the right way. So this practice of avoiding evil, doing good, cleaning out the mind, it is the practice of step by step increasing in happiness until we reach the final happiness of Nibbana. We are developing happiness all the time as we go along. So this is what I wish for all of you, the happiness here and now, and the timeless happiness in the future. Sukhi hotu.